Hey, everyone. Yeah, I'm not just talking with Sammy and Tobin now. I'm talking to all of you. And so, hello, everyone. This is the After Party After Show. Link is in the description in case you want to pop in and just join chat, join the channel. And I hope everyone's doing well. How you doing, guys?
And Mike. Don't forget Mike.
And Mike? Oh, and Mike, exactly. My co-host here, Mike.
Handsome fellow.
He is. Very symmetrical, right? And supposedly, in terms of attractability, supposedly having a symmetrical face helps with being graded as attractive.
And if you're bored one day or stoned, get a mirror and put it up halfway on your face, and then look at your face in another mirror, so that you're seeing half of your face reversed, and you will look really supposedly attractive.
Really?
Because both halves are the same. And also, if you take a picture of yourself and reverse it, you will look different to how you know yourself, but that is actually how everyone else sees you.
Oh, wow.
And how we see ourselves, because we've only ever seen ourselves, we see ourselves, daily in a mirror. We actually see the reverse of what everyone else sees. And it sounds bizarre, but there's an example with Abraham Lincoln, where there's the face that everyone knows, but the face that he would have known, if you reverse the image of his face, it almost doesn't even look like Abraham Lincoln.
Well, the one thing that I'm getting here, Sammy, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, is that this is a really complicated way for chatting up potential romantic interests in a bar. I just got to bring a mirror with me and say, no, wait. This is really the best me right here. I just gotta do this thing with the mirror here, and that'll raise my attractability up by a point or two.
As long as you pick the correct side, though.
Oh,
so don't use the side with the lazy eye or the lopsided smile.
That sounds like an episode of Seinfeld to me.
Yeah,
where he dated a girl who only looked good in a certain light.
Oh yes, that's right. Two-Face.
Yes.
Two-Face.
I was just about to try to do a visual joke, but my green screen's here and I couldn't. And I was going to tell you that my best side is my back is like this right here, but that really wouldn't work.
You would have destroyed your set.
I'm good. How you been?
Doing okay, man. Doing okay.
Yeah. So how long were you out in Colorado for?
I was there, flew out last Saturday, was there Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and flew out Tuesday morning. And that's fine. That was more than enough time for me to be relaxed. I can only be relaxed for a certain period. What's that?
You have family there, or just decided to take a...
My girlfriend has people out there. She lived in Denver for a number of years. And so she wanted to go out there, and I all right, I'll go along. She's still out there. She won't be back until Saturday. So, in true Andy fashion, I've decided to cram and to fill my schedule completely. Every waking moment.
Just going to quickly do my really bad at geography thing. Does Colorado border Canada and Alberta, if I'm not mistaken?
Colorado does not border Canada.
Because I know the Rockies go all the way through Colorado, all the way through into Alberta. I know that.
Right. Colorado basically abuts New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma, Kansas. It's right in the middle.
Oh, okay.
In the middle of the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. So the Rockies are a lot bigger than I actually thought they were.
They're huge. They're huge.
Yeah.
I did some geek stuff. I went to the Stanley Hotel, which is where Stephen King got inspired for The Shining.
Wow,
and they filmed the miniseries there in the late '90s, mid to late '90s, and we did the hour-and-a-half tour, which is worth, if you're ever up in that area, the Stanley tour is worth going on.
Was that the Shining miniseries?
That was the Shining miniseries. That's right.
Yeah, because the only reason it got made was because Stephen King hated the movie. Well, that's one of the reasons I heard.
No, that's true. And the thing is that if you're a fan of King and if you're a fan of Kubrick, you know that the movie is better than the book. I'll just say it right now.
I haven't read the book, so I need to.
Yeah.
The only book of Stephen King I ever actually read was Thinner.
Oh, Thinner. Okay, yeah, that's a good. Yeah. I've read that.
Movie was average at best, but the book was good.
Well, that's the problem with doing Stephen King stories is that they are long, right? He likes to write, and it's difficult to put that kind of story into movie form a lot of the times.
Yeah, I started reading the part of the Watchtower with the gunslinger.
Yeah, dude.
I started reading part of it, but I kind of fell off. Really, I haven't never really finished a Stephen King book yet, except for The Dragon's Eyes, or The Dragon Has Eyes. Oh man, that's back in high school. I did read that one entirely.
Sure.
I need to read more because the last books I've been reading is there's a singer called Corey Taylor, and he's an author as well, and he's the lead singer of Slipknot and other bands.
Okay,
and he wrote, and he wrote I think it's what's it called? Actually, give me a second. I will run over. And it basically it's he uses the 7 deadly sins to kind of write an autobiography. I'm trying to find the name of the book. It's called oh, I have it here somewhere. Basically he takes the 7 deadly sins and wrote a book about and so he uses his life to describe the 7 deadly sins, and it's actually hilarious. And knowing his personality, because I'm a huge fan of his, whenever I read it fast because I can imagine that's how he's writing it because he's so energetic. So it's and he's had some other books. He's got he had I'm really starting to hate you or something, and he also did something about right after, I think it was called Country 51 or something like that, or State 51, where it was right after Trump got elected.
No.
Yeah, but he's a really good writer, and he throws his sense of humor into it. He actually, and he got his second book was a long title. It was about ghosts and religious things. It's something which I think if you like humor mixed in with politics and religion and stuff, I think you'd find funny.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I strayed off the point.
No, that's okay. That's good. This is just a free flowing, open kind of conversation here. Yeah.
It's awesome. In the 2 months that I have started putting out these songs, I actually haven't got any hecklers yet, and I finally got one last night. It made me smile. I was like, oh my goodness, they're telling me I suck. Yes,
that's good, Dave. You know when you've hit it, when you've gotten that. Marmaduke Scarlet is wondering, what writer were you talking about, Glenn? His
name's Corey Taylor. His first book was, I forget the name of it, and it's got to do with 7 deadly sins. His second book is A Funny Thing Happened to Me, happened on the Way to Heaven, or How I Made Peace with the Paranormal and Stigmatized Zealots and Critics and Cynics in the process. Then he had You're Making Me Hate You, and then he had America 51.
Okay, all right.
And he mixes. It's what he does is, because he's obviously he's very opinionated, but he also realizes that as a lead singer he has what they call LSD, which he calls lead singer disease, which is they think they're more important than they really are.
Right. We all know that the brains of the operation is the songwriter, and typically the one who gets paid is the songwriter.
Yes. Yeah, and but he's like I say, he's got a sense of humor that is ridiculously, like, you can see it like shining through. It's shining through, like, his sense of humor, and
Well, I'll take that break
Yeah.
to say hello, Rage. How you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Pretty good.
Hey,
I can always tell how much
Good morning.
how much Rage has waked and baked by how many words he's saying.
Yeah, I'm pretty woke and woke and boke.
I'm
But,
worked and booked, brother.
yeah, I'm actually cleaning. As Google goes off, but I had to come in and challenge. Like, The Shining. That's one of the Stephen King books I haven't read. Oh gosh, probably since my 20s. Like his early work, I haven't read those books in a while. But I think like with the movie The Shining, I think Jack Nicholson does a pretty good job of displaying the characters' descent into madness. But like the issue with any movie trying to do a Stephen King book is Stephen King is so detailed about the minds of his characters that a movie could never just portray that. Any movie.
Yeah. Yeah, true enough, Rage. True enough. Interesting thing about the Stanley tour in this hotel up in Colorado that I visited is that there's this underground. Of course, it's an underground tunnel, and there's no boiler there because in the story in the book there's this whole bit with the main character being in the boiler room, going slowly insane. There's no boiler room in the basement, but there's this really creepy tunnel, and it really creeped me out, to tell you the truth.
Like I said, it's been forever since I've read the movie, but like I think the movie is ultimately about aliens. I could be thinking of a different the book. I could be thinking of a different Stephen King book, but I'm pretty sure that The Shining is ultimately about aliens, and I don't think that the movie really got into that. And I think that's what Stephen King was.
Tommy Knockers was about aliens.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm probably confusing those two books.
Yeah. And that story about the shit weasels and everything. Getting into obscure Stephen King stuff. There's stuff in that book that I didn't fully grasp, I think.
Wow. I'm just realizing how many words from my childhood come from Stephen King.
Shit weasels.
Tommy Knockers was breasts. And shit weasel was just an insult. You shit weasel.
Right.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
So what are you sharing, Sammy? You got something here?
Yeah, just to show that my stoned ramblings, they do come from somewhere based in reality. So there you go. Look at Abraham Lincoln. You can see if they invert or if they mirror him symmetrically, you get two different images. The one in the middle is his original image. And then either side is if they mirrored that side. And look how different the two...
Dude, that's crazy.
That's how unsymmetrical he is. He's particularly unsymmetrical.
And Matt Damon.
And then there's Matt Damon, who's supposedly very attractive.
Well, Matt Damon to me always just looked like an Irish kid from Boston, to tell you the truth. I never thought he was like super attractive. Talented, but not super attractive.
But I just thought that was a really interesting phenomenon. That
it is wild how we are attracted. We have visual stimulation that like really kind of overrides our brains and stuff. Like taking in art, like how much money people will pay for art is insane. Like how much we are stimulated by visuals.
Well, our primary, of course, this is obvious. Our primary sense is sight. It would be totally different if we were like dogs, and our primary sense was olfactory. It would be more like, I wonder if his scent is symmetrical. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means.
I actually, in my teen years, I had a very similar incident to the Seinfeld incident, but it wasn't a shadow thing. It wasn't one night wake up the next day and think, oh Jesus, what was I thinking?
We've all done that.
Yeah, I was in a relationship for some time. It may have only been a matter of weeks, which as a teenager is a long time, but after this whatever period of time, I literally woke up one morning and did not recognize the person in my bed.
Wow, dude.
They had physically changed. I don't know if they'd always managed to wear makeup up to that point or but it was a completely different person, and I actually ended up breaking up with them.
Wow, dude. You know,
I know it sounds shallow, but
it does. It does not put you in a good light. There's a play on words somewhere in that. Sammy,
it freaked me the fuck out. I didn't know if like a different person had literally snuck into my bed that night. So yeah, I was out.
Well,
I was out of there.
It's something similar but different with me. After like the third or fourth date, it's like, Andy, you seem to be a lot less funny now. It's like, yeah, well, I already went through all my A material. So now you're just getting the stuff I'm working on. I'm just workshopping material now.
You're getting the dregs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Man. Yeah. So it was a good. This is Chris Marius. She says, "This is why I don't wear a lot of makeup. You get what you get." Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Indeed.
I'm not against makeup by any means. I don't find lots of makeup particularly attractive. If a girl can manage to make her makeup look more natural, that's a win for me, in my opinion.
What I find funny are the dudes who say, I like the non-makeup look, like the Kardashians have. I've heard that before.
The pretend look.
Well, I'd like to see one millimeter of the Kardashian body that is actually real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw something posted. I'm trying to think of what celebrity it was, but she had extended her rear end in Photoshop or whatever, but didn't realize that she'd curved the doorway. The straight doorway was now curved as well.
It's like it has its own gravitational field.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen these? Have you seen these things where it's they go where these people are so? And I've seen these things on Facebook where they point out how badly Photoshop things, how they try to make themselves look something, and then it's like, well, yeah, now your legs are like 2 inches like wide, and it's like, yeah, you clearly Photoshopped it, and some of them are actually really hilarious. Or there's this guy here. They basically got him. It goes. He's like a.
Did we lose Glenn for a second? I think we might have lost Glenn.
Oh.
How about that? Yeah.
Jinx.
Something I saw with here recently is they've got glasses now that fix people's who are colorblind. They make glasses now, and it's really when you see people see color for the first time, it's crazy.
And we bought him some of those, and it's just like you see on YouTube. He bawled his eyes out. I bawled my eyes out. It was such a huge moment in his life. And just one of those moments that, very cliche, but makes you realize what you've took for granted and just how there's people out there. Like my partner's father essentially sees black and white.
Wow.
Now, he'll tell you that he can see color, but he can't perceive it. And
talk more about that.
Yeah, he says he knows that they're colored, but it doesn't stay the color that it should be, and so he he doesn't define it very well, but I try and picture, does he see shifting colors, or does he see black and white because he's like true colorblind, or what is true colorblindness? It's fascinating, but he's not managed to explain it to me in any way that I've been able to get my head around to now be able to relay it.
Yeah, I know that the traditional, for those of you who haven't seen it, the traditional colorblind tests, they are, what is it, red and green versus blue and yellow. I think that's how our sensors, our color sensors are built up. So they're the red and the green are linked together, like on-off variations of that, as well as the blue and the yellow. So that's why the tests are like that. And I imagine that there's a variety. There could be problems in the eye itself, and there could be cortical problems, right? Because there's something called cortical blindness, where your eyes are working fine, but you got a head injury, and it just shuts off your vision. So I imagine there's a variety of different types of color blindness.
Yeah, and I think that it's essentially what he's getting at is, it sounds like his is somewhat neurological more than physiological.
Yeah.
Because he can tell you what colors things are, but he can't see the colors.
That's fascinating.
It blows my mind.
There are these phenomena that you can see sound too, right? Like in a non-trippy state, like you're not taking any kind of hallucinogen.
Yeah.
People with a neurological issue of being able to see sound, and I don't even know what that's like.
You know, I woke up from a dream.
There was a famous composer that had that, apparently. I'm not sure if it was Beethoven.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, who wrote a lot of his, or if not all of his pieces based on their color.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Tobin?
I was going to say I woke up from a dream really slowly one time, and I was in my van waiting to go into work. It was not unlocked, and I just sat in my van, and I leaned back in my seat and passed out, and I woke up real slow like, and all the images that I was seeing were influenced by the sound that I was hearing by the road noise. I was in a city area, so there was a lot of activity, but it was so strange.
Yeah, dude.
And I don't know. But I see Wild Eden here too, and I'm like, holy shit! I've been watching her videos. Phenomenal art. I really enjoyed them.
Thank you very much, Tobin. I really appreciate you watching my videos. I just wanted to say hi to folks.
It's good to see
you.
Hi,
Eden.
Hello.
So it's synesthesia.
Synesthesia.
Andy, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not just the color, but any sort of sensory, what would you call it? Phenomenon.
Right.
But there's a list of people here. Beyonce, apparently, and then it says what they had. She had sound to color. Charlie XCX has sound to color.
Interesting. You know, that's the thing about brains, right? But like we always this is kind of naive realism that we just assume that other people's brains work in a similar way that ours do. But that's not true. I was talking with Dale McGowan, and you might find this interesting, Tobin, because you do music. And Dale's
cool.
Dale's brilliant. And he was telling me, and I mentioned this before, that when he composes music, he doesn't hear the music.
Right.
And in fact, when
Who's that?
What's that?
Who was that? Sorry?
Dale McGowan. He is he teaches music at a university in Georgia. He's also my boss over at the Non-Religious Channel. He created. He's a brilliant guy, scary smart, and he was just offhanded, just mentioned on one of our conversations on this channel that when you compose, you do not hear the music. And there's a point that when you are first composing, you hear the music, and then when you get good at it, it just disappears, and you just write. And I'm like, I had no idea people did that. I had no concept of that.
It's a mathematical formula.
Yeah,
Like music to me is all the songs. Like if you butted them all up together and you could see their notation and all that, really, I'm just moving through this scale. I'm moving through a pattern that I have found with letters and numbers. And that's basically what I'm playing with.
Which is why a lot of
you can rearrange it and make so many different patterns. I've tried to do the math to figure out like how many ways, and I couldn't do it all in my lifetime, even if I started as a little kid, knowing what I know now.
Sure. You know what?
Sorry, just a quick, Tobin.
Mm-hmm.
When you write music, do you play and then write it down, or do you write and then play what you've written down?
Everything was pretty much like these 12 songs that I put out were all done in a week. Like but prior to that, I worked out this little formula, and it makes it to where it's a pattern that I follow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
so is it just so you just follow? So you just like start a chord and then work out the formula then takes you on a certain chord progression, or?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right.
Tobin, Chris and Mario would like you to post a link to your channel. You're a mod, so you can do that.
I can do that.
Yeah. What also talk about naive realism, right? And so when I was explaining this to my girlfriend, I know I've mentioned this before. She goes, "Oh, it's like how people read," and it's like, "Well, what do you mean?" She's like, "Well, when you read, you don't hear your voice." And I'm like, "No, I always hear this in my brain when I'm reading, as sad as that is." And she goes, "Oh yeah, people do that all the time. People just don't hear; they just silently read." It's like I don't understand that either.
I hear my mother's voice when I read.
Oh, that's magic, Wild Eden.
Because my mum used to read my books when I was little, so when I think about it, it's my mum's voice that I hear in my head when I'm reading a book.
Wow,
that's awesome.
So, hang on. What are you telling me, Andy? What?
I was muted.
Back up.
Okay.
What do the majority of people hear when they read?
Most people hear their own voice, but a significant amount of people don't hear anything. They just read.
Okay. I'm going to have to go read something to see.
I definitely hear a voice when I read, but the good books take the voice away and replace it with pictures.
Is it the same as your inner monologue? Or can they be different?
What do you mean?
Because I do have an inner voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I think with a voice, which is my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same?
Well, some people, it's different. It's different, sir. And I'll tell you this, is that this was a story that came out maybe a year ago or so, that there are some people with no inner monologue. There's no inner voice.
Yeah,
it creates problems. It creates problems with them in real life. But there are some people who do not have an inner voice. But that's different from not hearing a voice when you're reading, I believe.
Okay.
Well, I speak to myself to resolve conflict. If that makes any sense.
No, it does, because that's what therapy is. You're just doing therapy, except there's no other person there in the room.
Well, yeah, it's because especially when I worked at a job where that someone was really just completely cruel to me. It was like, she's like 5'2", and I'm not, and I, like she makes me want to, hurt someone. So I just go like when I'm alone, I yell at myself or something, because I know that it's, I wouldn't. I'm not going to hit someone because they're an abusive coworker. I'm just going to, speak to myself.
When you say something, it activates different neural pathways, obviously, right? Than just thinking about it and reflecting about it. And Rick Heller, who does the Humanist Meditation Group here in Cambridge, he was on the show talking about secular meditation. And he said, and we talked about this phenomenon, he said, just talking or speaking the emotion, saying, I feel this way, actually lowers how much you feel that emotion.
Yeah.
So saying, I feel angry is like that actually lowers the amount of anger that you feel. And that's what talk therapy does, right? It just activates your frontal lobe, right? Because you have all these feelings down here, right, in the reptilian brain, but when you start talking about it, it engages your frontal lobe, so you can start thinking about them in a more intelligent manner.
Are you telling me that there's some science that proves that believing something does not will it into existence?
Maybe. Perhaps, yeah. Perhaps.
I saw that. We're just quickly talking about something. I saw this. Like, there's this. I forget what the name. I'll kind of thing. It's a Facebook group where they just take the most ridiculously right wing things and post it, and you get to comment on it just because show how stupid they are. And this one guy was saying was like pointing out, like, he's ultra like he's like a street preacher, and he goes, when I become president and this and this and this, and I read, and my comment was, well, maybe he should use spell check first because his grammar was horrible.
Yeah. Well, Jesus doesn't care about grammar, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cryptomarius. What gets me angry are people who are good at everything, because every once in a while you'll just come across someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm good at all that stuff. At everything.
I've also heard that there's some people who don't have the ability to mentally visualize any images.
Yeah,
which must be quite difficult.
I believe because intelligent tests, right? Intelligent tests can be nonverbal. There are nonverbal intelligence tests, and they're puzzle making kind of activities. So I believe that specifically looks at this kind of visualization. Engineers have it a lot. We're atheists. A lot of us know engineers, right? and they can just tell you about things. One of my girlfriend's dads was an engineer, and he would just start talking about things in such a visual manner about what he's working on in the house. And I'm like, I understand the words. I don't know if I can follow the schematics that you're dropping down on me right now. But yeah.
It's one reason why I think I'm kind of bad at math is like if I'm on paper, I can make coherent, equations. But whenever I try to think about it inside of my head, numbers start getting jumbled up and I can't see them.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like at first I can, but once I start going through certain processes, I lose it. And then I have to restart all over again.
Yeah, I don't think we do well, and this is going to be obvious, right? I don't think we do well teaching children number sense. Haven't Meta used that term when I was talking to him a while back. And it was about, how do you develop a good number sense with someone, right, at an early age? It's like maybe learning like a language, right? If you can learn a language when you're very young, it's easier to know that and internalize that. But I don't think we do that with numbers. At least I know I never did.
I gotta bow out. I'm doing like a dozen things at once, and I can't even really participate in the conversation. So I'm gonna go grab my laundry. You guys have a great day.
You doing okay, Ray?
I'm doing good today. I'm just getting some stuff done. I talked to Brett Keane last night, so there's always a Brett Keane hangover after you talk to that guy. But outside of that, I'm doing pretty good. I'm just cleaning house, and I'm doing like 100 things at once. So,
all right, dude.
Y'all have a good day.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye, Nock.
Speak to Brett Keane. I'd need a shot of heroin, I think.
So I'm a little out of it. Who is he?
You don't know Brett Keane?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Best way to describe. Let's give a link to
Brett Keane. I really don't have a good grasp on him myself. I saw that Rage was streaming yesterday talking to Brett Keane, and that's the thing. I know people that aren't on YouTube, and those are the people I talk to a lot. I mean, I know everyone here. I know your channels, But when it gets into the greater YouTube sphere, I'm really like, yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still learning the characters' names, the people's names.
Yeah. Something actually really funny that I saw. It was one of those. I think it's called. The group has actually called "No One." Facebook's not taking out your offensive posts, conservatives, just because they always claim that the thing's getting taken down. And one of them was this woman that said that said, read this before you watch a new Cruella de Vil movie, because DeVille is close to the devil, and this is like just pure evil. And they're going, it's not how I remember the Dalmatians. They go, so you don't remember a woman that wanted to skin 101 Dalmatians,
Yeah.
And so basically, I went on her Facebook page, and I basically wrote "Hail Satan" with like 5 devil horns.
Right.
Because you have to. You just have to.
Cruella de Vil. When I think about good villains like Magneto from the X-Men, right? Well done villain. You can empathize with it, and that's what you're supposed to do, right? When you're writing a good villain, is that you're supposed to feel or understand their point of view.
Yeah.
That's why it's like Cruella de Vil. Do we really need to see a movie that that's about a woman who wants to skin all these dogs? That seems,
Yeah.
not necessary.
Well, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know, because I don't know. I think it's kind of a backstory on how she becomes it. So we could maybe get a glimpse into what turned her into this complete psycho.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? We were going to actually watch it because we have Disney Plus, but they wanted to charge $35 to watch it. So it's like,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think Disney Plus is only like $10 a month or so it's actually cheaper.
Yeah, but it's that's like you get all the older movies, but obviously the newer ones, just like any streaming service, if it's a movie that's in the theaters, they're going to charge you to watch it.
Yeah.
So I was trying. Sorry, Andy.
No, go ahead, man.
I was trying not to just say he's just a Christian off YouTube. So I was trying to Google some stuff, and literally Google says Brett Keane is a particular Christian YouTuber who makes vlogs and gaming videos. Brett Keane was one of YouTube's earliest individuals and the owner of the first big YouTube atheist channel. And then I looked further down, I thought atheist, and it says conversions. At one point, Keane left atheism and become a Christian. So that's probably why Knock knows him, and
right,
because Knock's been on YouTube forever, and
he's been around for quite a while. Yeah.
It's not often an atheist.
I've had an interaction with Brett Keane a couple of times. I've been on his channel. Went on his channel immediately after being on Smokey's channel about 6 months ago. He was actually quite nice to me. So I take people at face value. But then I had a more recent interaction on Smokey's stream with Smokey, Brett, and Will Kincaid, the triumvirate from hell. So that was quite an experience. And that's all I'm going to say about that one. Okay. But yeah, I have had some knowledge of Brett. He's also known as the boogeyman of the internet.
The boogeyman of the internet. Interesting. I'll have to check out his channel.
So you listened to your mum when she said, if you've got nothing nice to say while reading.
Well, in that case, there'd be no YouTube channels.
Yeah.
It would all just be PBS. That's all it would be. It would just be intelligent conversations.
I was going to say there'd be no Christian channels.
I think Brett describes himself as a maltheist.
A maltheist.
A maltheist.
A maltheist. He believes in God, but he believes God is evil.
Well, if I was going to believe in God, I would believe that God is evil. Sure, I would have no problem with that. If I believed in God, I think that's the strongest case that you can make for if there was a deity.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of it being all benevolent and all that.
This fandom.com site, fandom, he has fans. Says became a Christian, or as he calls it, a God believer. However, after being wronged by evil atheist YouTuber individuals, Brett converted to Christianity.
If he's a God man over a Christian, then doesn't that make him an agnostic? Because, right? Because
not if he believes there is a God.
Yeah,
it's still theist, isn't it?
No, yeah. If you believe in God, that's theism right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's Gnostic theism. That is it isn't like you don't know, you're not really sure. That's Gnostic theism right there. I just consider myself an agnostic atheist asshole. The AAA of atheism right there.
You see,
my background's Buddhism. So I come into this fresh eyes, I think, the theist community, or outside eyes. Although I'm not currently a practicing Buddhist, but I did spend a year living and working in a Tibetan Buddhist monastery, and I had intended on becoming a nun at that point.
Oh, interesting.
But the teachings have still stayed with me, in the philosophy of compassion.
Sure. Well, there's definitely there is this potential connection between Stoicism, the Greek philosophy, and Buddhism, because the civilizations were in connection, were in communication with each other.
Yeah.
And so there's this idea that the Buddhists and Stoicism, they cross-fertilized in terms of concepts about attachment to things in the world. Yeah.
Yes. Buddhists don't believe in an external God that you pray to.
Yeah.
It's more about your own, what they would term Buddha nature.
There are many, just like with Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism, there's a lot of different flavors to it. Some of the more folk versions of Buddhism, have deities. Just like some flavors of Christianity don't have a God, which I don't understand that, but that happens.
Well, also there's if you look at the history of certain religions, they didn't start out as a religion, and really, and some of them are not even religion, but they, in a sense, like for instance, Judaism is just a tribe of people, pretty much. That's how it started.
Yeah,
a tribe of people in the Middle East, and so there's and whether or not they pray to a god or whatever, that's the modern day Judaism is not what Judaism was when it started out.
Cryptomaria says, never say Buddha is Asian Jesus. I got in so much trouble. I could see that, Cryptomaria. I could say how there'd be issues with that. Yeah.
Okay, Nirvana fans, I can finally whip this meme out.
They're very nice. Very nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
I knew I'd get to use it one day.
Right.
Siddhartha Gautama was the name of the person believed to be the Buddha before he became enlightened. An Indian prince.
Right.
Or so the legends go.
I have in my, I'm not in my, in the room where my books live, but if anyone has ever looked at The Matrix and Philosophy, these are nice intro books on, and they're real philosophy. They're written by philosophy professors. There is a significant.
Sorry, what was the books about the Matrix or something? Or
it's Matrix. It's The Matrix and Philosophy, and one of and because there's quite a few Buddhist concepts in the Matrix in the first Matrix movie, and definitely worth your time to take a look at. Yeah, definitely worth taking a look at.
Yeah, have any of you read? Sorry, you go ahead. I think you went first.
Oh, sorry, Glenn. Sorry, I just butted in there. please forgive me. I was just going to say the one movie that the Tibetan Buddhist teachers believed was closest to reality was Groundhog Day. And they used to play that in the Buddhist monastery cafe.
Interesting note about Groundhog Day.
Wow.
Supposedly, the writers believe that Bill Murray lived 10 years in that loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's a book, and the movie's not based on the book, but it's very similar. Have any of you read Ray Kurzweil's Spiritual Machines?
No.
Okay, it basically charts the start of computers and how he believes in like 2021 or 2045 or 21. I can't remember the exact years. They'll have a full-on conscious living and be able to pretty much be like humans. And then there was a movie that I saw on Netflix called Extinction, which has I'm trying to remember.
Sounds like a laugh fest.
It's with Lizzie Kaplan and some Pena, I forget, and it had the guy who played Luke Cage in, and basically it's if I thought it was really well done. It basically talks about machines that become sentient beings type thing. I thought it was really well done because it kind of plays like you're wondering what the hell, where the loop is like, and it's really good. And it's based it like I could actually see how the book by Ray Kurzweil could have inspired the movie. I don't think it did at all. Like it just, but maybe it did. And and I want to reread it because I read it for a book review in college. But usual me, I said I'd have it done a week before, but then it's the night before I'm reading the book and like going chapter by chapter and writing a synopsis from each chapter, because that's what I did. I always left things to the last minute. But it's from what I remember, it was a really good book.
I had this conversation with the girlfriend. She's not here to defend herself, so I can talk about this. And she was talking about how machines will never become sentient. And I said, well, if you, to go back to Richard Dawkins and the selfish gene, if you consider that people are just wet robots, right? Really complicated wet robots. But when you don't have a soul, when you don't have this metaphysical piece of you, even you don't have a spirit, then what you have are really complicated wet robots. And I'm not willing to throw out the possibility of non-wet things gaining consciousness, whatever that means. See, there's so much wiggle room in there.
Yeah.
But it's about epistemological kind of humility. It's like, I don't know. I'm not willing to go down and say that computers will never become conscious.
Well, look at what we already get computers to do today. And keep in mind that every 5 years, we're not just doubling a thing. We're like the technology is flying in things we couldn't even imagine, now I just want my fucking hoverboard already, but that's another story.
See, in my opinion, if you truly grasp the concept that consciousness is an emergent property of life, it's not a far leap or a big stretch to understand that technology will be sentient.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just a question of when.
Well, technology has been replicating everything, pretty much almost human behavior. They have algorithms that you look at one thing on Facebook, next thing, phones are actually you talk about something 5 minutes later, it's on Facebook, and advertising, so. Now that's not just that's not a.
They're listening. They want you to buy their products.
Yes. Well, I've always said I liked one heavy metal band on Facebook, and next I'm getting all these advertisements. If you like this band, you like this. I'm going, thanks for the free publicity. I got Apple Music right now. Download the album, and the amount of bands I've discovered that I've never heard of before. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Facebook, for monitoring me.
Yeah.
Of course. Now, of course, I've got the chip when I got my vaccine. You know, so
Very
now
good.
more.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. Oh, completely. Other thing. What happened with the cat? The cat hunt. Did you able to?
Well, we have Cat. You might have heard
cool.
the cat in the last show. She was meowing around.
No,
She's actually been on screen. She actually allowed me to hold her for like a second or two. So we got the cat. Biscuit.
Cool.
Glenn's
awesome.
been under a rock, everybody.
Yeah.
Those who are wondering.
No, I was away, and then I was doing other stuff, and and then I didn't watch a show, and then last week I know you didn't have a show last week and anything, right? Yeah. So.
I don't know what could be more important than my cat news.
Right.
Well,
but she's an oddly person-related cat, people cat. She's a very people-centered cat.
Yeah.
When we were away for a few days, I had a buddy of mine pop in and do some cat care, and that was good. We just didn't want to leave her alone.
Yeah. Well, is she still very young, or was she?
She's like a year old. She's just over a year old. I just want to say too, and I should have mentioned this in the last show, but I didn't because of my stupid brain meat. But I cannot do a show tomorrow because my dryer. I'm not going to say it might catch on fire, but there is a lint problem, and it's not working. And so I've had laundry piling up, and you can only dry so much laundry using the air method. Yeah, and so.
Gotta go to the laundromat
because it was getting to crisis level that the person is coming in just when the show is going to be just running, and then they're going to have to interact with me at some point trying to figure out what's wrong with the lint because it's only a year old. It's all I don't want to talk about vents and lint, but there's going to have to be some kind of dealing with that problem. And if I don't do it tomorrow, then I don't even, like I said, it's necessary at this point. So I won't be able to stream tomorrow. If for some reason I can stream tomorrow, I'll just throw something up quickie. Yeah. But it kind of sucks. But
Marmaduke Scarlet, that's because the cupboard is in my house. It's in my spare room and it has marijuana plants growing in it.
Man, I didn't get that question, but it must have been pretty awesome. I like the answer.
And I don't know that it would take you probably 10 minutes to figure that out, Andy. So, long story short, Brainbug was joking about Australia. He was saying I couldn't be the Aussie Jesus because you can't be Jesus from where you come from. And I said I thought that was just in your town where they knew your tricks and bullshit. And Simply Secular Dave said, Brainbug, Australia can only be reached through a magic wardrobe, according to flat earthers. And Marmaduke Scarlet said, Simply Secular Dave, I've never found a way to leave. And I said, that's because the cupboard's in my spare room with marijuana plants growing in it.
So I have to ask you, Sammy, it's been a while. How's the mouse apocalypse going out there?
Well, I've run out of language to use. Apocalypse is.
I feel it's some kind of Dante-esque. Anyone who starts talking about the mice in Australia, it's like abandon all hope.
Yeah, it's. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's escalating. It's still escalating.
It's still escalating.
The thing I saw about the most when I was in Australia was like fucking cockroaches, and they're not the regular size ones. They're like 5 times the size of any other cockroach I've ever seen in my life. Maybe that was just Sydney.
Yeah, no, they're big. They're fucking horrid. That's why I can handle spiders, snakes, sharks. I don't care, but cockroaches, fuck that shit.
A buddy of mine was in Malawi in the Peace Corps, and there was a albino cockroach living in his.
Creepy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, indeed.
I was okay. So I had when we lived in Sydney, like when we were in Sydney, for like a month. Me and my sister when we went traveling. and we found this guy rents rooms to backpackers type thing, and so we went up the East Coast and we came back down and we saw this like outline, like a chalk outline, but with a Sharpie on the wall, and we go, "What the hell's that?" He goes, "Well, there was this cockroach running across the wall, and we slapped it and killed it, and we figured that's our fucking trophy." So they left it up. These two Irish guys. So then the landlord wanted to show the house, so he took the cockroach down. So they just drew a chalk outline around on the wall.
Nice. Nice.
See, and what you'll find, Glenn, is that it's a Sydney thing as well. Sydney's our oldest city.
Yeah.
It has our oldest buildings, our oldest infrastructure. They've got it pretty bad. And it's because they've kept a lot of the old buildings and infrastructure for sentimental reasons, whatever. But that means that, cockroaches and rodents and things come with
it sounds like you're making a very strong case for Tasmania.
Oh, absolutely. But it's cold down there.
I can deal with cold. I like cold.
But if you can do cold, Tasmania is our New Zealand, Andy.
I like that.
I'm telling you. It's snow, skiing, mountains,
Yeah, I was
incest.
I never made it to Tasmania. I did the East Coast and then we did New Zealand. But yeah, I'd like to have done more of Australia. Just didn't have the time or money. It's too goddamn big.
Brain bug, dropping the brain bug wisdom there about cockroaches. Hey, everyone, I have to get ready for work as well as all the other crap I got going on today.
Yeah.
So
I go back to work on Friday. Our lockdown's finally over Friday.
Oh, well,
yeah,
man, congratulations.
Yeah.
A light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully people do the responsible thing, but unfortunately there's still too many of these anti-vaxxers out there that might fucking run it for the rest of us, but
Yeah. If I can edit the interview tonight with Monica, I might put up some of it tomorrow since I won't be able to stream the regular show. But I don't know. I got like a million things I got to get done. So
all right.
If I can do it, I will.
All right. Well, if we don't speak tomorrow, then see you, I guess, on Friday. Today,
I'll be here Friday. Yeah, I don't think any disaster will happen to me on Friday. Cool. So take care, everyone. Thanks, panel. Thanks, viewers. And we'll talk to you later.
Later, guys.